We switch to that. Okay, everyone, round of applause for Wendy. She did homework, she caught up, and it looks beautiful. Show it off. Woo-hoo!
Nice.
Look at that.
Good job. Yay.
All right. I generally do not allow open containers at the table, but yesterday wore me out and I need my coffee. So I'm going to break my own rule. You guys can chastise me later.
Shame.
Right? There's no
Get the
shame in
cup.
coffee.
Now do that.
Okay. You're going to be over there?
Yeah, because I was like on an angle that
Yep.
for space. So.
Okay. Just be mindful of the cords.
Okay.
That'll work out. Let's see. What are we going to do this morning?
And papers.
End papers. Ready to do end papers?
I'm not, because I need some.
What do you need?
The end papers.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to make yours.
Okay.
So, I mean, here. For this, you're going to probably need something to cut on, unless you're using scissors. I have a basic mat. You can get it at most art stores. I don't want to say the name Hobby Lobby, but they carry this stuff. Joanne
They're
Fabrics
close to
carries
that.
it.
Yeah, just say Joanne's.
And yeah, Joann's. It's a self-healing mat. I think these are somewhere in the $30 range. I've got a large.
the cheapest.
Where?
Walmart.
Okay, he says Walmart's the cheapest. So I got a big one that takes up most of this table at Joanne Fabrics for $80. But I mean, it's huge and it's really nice. The only thing I don't like about it is the measurement grid pattern. The grid itself is square, but it's not square to the mat. So if I put my T-square up to the mat, it doesn't track right. It's off like 1/8 of an inch per foot. So I'm really disappointed in that. At some point, I may try and trim it, but I really don't know what I'm going to trim it with. How to keep it straight. So, all right. So in your kits, you're going to have some paper that looks like this. And I'm going to be working on a larger sheet, but the concepts are all going to transfer. Your end papers. So you started off making your book out of paper like this. Your end paper is essentially going to be the exact size of your original paper because we're not trimming this, so you're okay. Now, you can go ahead and measure your text block, book block, whatever you want to call it. Getting the height is going to be pretty easy. Well, we shouldered this, so it's going to be really hard to get a measurement around the shoulder. So what I would recommend is you have a couple of these left over. I know I gave each of you an extra, right? I didn't? Oh no, she's shaking her head. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to tell you the measurement then. So this is a standard A5 sheet. I bought it to size, so I didn't have to spend a lot of time cutting it. A5, the measurement is 8.27 inches by 5.83 inches. Now, you're probably going to look at your ruler and go, how do I translate that? So I'm just going to tell you. All right, so it's 8 9/32. And if you're not a person familiar with measuring, that is just a hair over 1/4 of an inch. So if you do 8 1/4, just a little bit more, you've got it. The 5.83 is 5 13/16. And that, I believe, is just over. Yeah, that's a 1/16 over 5 3/4. So yeah, I mean, and you can even use, if you have one of these, just use this as your template. Just set it down on your paper, make the marks, and cut the marks. What I would recommend, I'm going to steal this,
Okay.
is your paper will look more like this one, and your vines are going to go up and down. So when you cut, I don't think you're going to have a choice. I think I cut yours close to the right size. So when you fold it in half, you're going to end up with this. All right, so I'm going to switch cameras so you guys have an overhead view of what I'm doing. But essentially, you're going to take those two pieces of paper and cut them so they're this size. And I don't think I gave you extra, so please don't mess up. All right, switching cameras. And we're back up. Come on. Come on, you can do it. No, seriously. I think this camera is a coffee drinker too. It did this yesterday morning. It did not want to come up first thing.
I can relate.
Why? Why does it hate me? Okay, it comes up over there. So that's really aggravating. Okay, so I'm going to try something back. Okay, so I got that camera. Sits there on the table for songs. Not a part of the Friday night long clock. Ancient blue song. Why? All right, let's try a full hard reset. Calls for a copy boy, grumpy as hell. Oh. Okay. That's why. Oh, there's my head. All right. Okay. Now that I figured the tech issue out, so I'm using a microphone other than the one that's built into the cameras, and when I switch, if I don't manually switch it in the settings to use the microphone at my head, it has the microphone on one camera and the video on the other, and it just doesn't want to do with that. So that's for future reference. That's what's going on there. All right, so I now have the overhead camera. I think that's a little bit better situation than we had yesterday. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my A5 paper, and I'm going to lay this out. Yeah, and you can physically mark it with a ruler. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't skin cats, I promise. Not real ones, just metaphorical ones. And so anyone in-house, if there's a tool that's not out and you need it, let me know, and we have it. I promise you. Usually it makes that sound. I get some sort of notification. Erie weather advisory. All right. 1, 2.
Yay.
All right. So you have a cutting mat. You're okay. You have a mat right behind you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
There you go. We have to shift some stuff around.
It's okay.
Get it out of your way. And I'm going to steal this from you.
Okay.
This is the song I was trying to learn how to play.
Ah.
But he puts the lick in the rhythm and he plays them at the same time. And I really struggle with his. And then he also taps the strings and gets a rhythm out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, overachiever.
This would be fun to sing too.
Oh, it is. It's a great song. A lot of his stuff's fun. Can you guys hear the music?
Like a teens.
Teens. Okay. I don't have it much louder because I lose my thoughts. Becomes a little too much. Okay, can I get a couple more out of this? Yes. Oh yeah, because a lot of times you end up, it's like a little short. And it's like, oh, now what am I gonna do with it? I'm glad you all found your email and got the link. I was really worried when I checked last night. You know, the software allows you to schedule 2 events, or 2 days, or you can do it a week. But when it schedules the live stream, it only does it for the first day. And you would think if you schedule multiple sessions, it would propagate multiple sessions. So I learned something. In the future, I have to let people know. It's like, yeah, I'll be sending you a link each day.
Yeah, that's strange.
Well, it's my website's through Wix, and it gives you the opportunity to use the Wix software, which I chose to. And then you can also do it through Zoom, but I think I have a Zoom account and I just didn't want to deal with setting it up. And I wanted to actually see what the Wix software would do. And for the most part, I think the Wix software works really well, except for that one issue of why it doesn't schedule out several days. The camera issues are technical on my side, and I think I'd have the same issue with Zoom class. Till I get that new switch. Oh, why'd I do that? Okay, that's all right. Yeah, that's a statement that's often made in here. It's like, why'd I do that? Because you know. All right, so 2. I only have 1. Okay. This stuff off the table. All right. Everybody caught up? You still working on it?
I just have one more good.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay.
So while she's catching up, what we can do is we've been using a lot of the PVA, or at least I have. So what I'd like to do is we're going to take that paste that was made yesterday, and we are going to make the 50-50 blend. Let me get a measuring thing.
What were we supposed to do?
Cut them down to A5 size.
This?
And actually, I mean, all I did was, this one cut. I would just take a sheet of paper and mark it and cut it to that size. Or you can measure it either way.
I don't have 8 inches.
Yeah, it should be just over what you need. If not, I have, if it's short, I have another sheet.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I just have a little measuring spoon here. I'm not sure how big it is. It says 7 grams or 0.25 ounce. So I don't know what this actually is as far as.
I think it's 2 tablespoons. It looks like a coffee scoop.
It is a coffee scoop.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So she's saying it's probably 2 tablespoons. However you want to measure, 2 tablespoons sounds about right. But all I'm going to do.
You said the 930 seconds just over a quarter.
Yeah. A handy dandy wet rag. Okay. And I put my PVA in a little jar, but. So my mixture, I usually do 50-50. A lot of bookbinders will do 40-60 with an emphasis on, I believe, the PVA. And then you just mix it really good. Not a very complicated process, but we could have went through this whole process and just used PVA the entire way, but I had you make paste. So I figured we should probably use some of it. When we go to paste the book together, you can use the 50-50, or you can use straight paste, or you can use PVA, whatever you want. Typically, I would take your paste out a few hours before you want to use it. That way it comes up to room temperature. Putting a little bit of water on the top, popping in the microwave for 30 seconds, maybe a couple times, just to warm it up. You don't want to cook it, but you put a little water on it. It's okay to mix the water in. This stuff here, it's pretty thick. I mean, it's not going anywhere. So depending on what you're working with, you'd want to loosen that up anyway. Now, as you see, mixed with the PVA, okay, so that's how you make 50-50. I'm going to switch cameras real quick. Or not. Why is it fighting me? Default. There it is. Why does it do that? All right, so I'm gonna. There we go. Okay, so your end papers, you're going to pretty much go ahead and make folios out of them. So go ahead and fold them in half. Make sure they're even and squared up. So when you're doing your own books, I mean, I pre-cut this for you, so you really didn't have much of a choice, but I had already checked the grain direction. You'll have wanted to have checked the grain direction to make sure that it's correct. But part of what my driving force with the way I cut this, regardless of grain direction, was the pattern direction. And if you're using a pattern paper on your book and you don't want it to look funny, you got to pay attention to that. Oh, you want the color inside. I'm sorry. I didn't specify. So when you fold it, you want the design on the inside. So it'll look like that. It's funny, there's things that you just intuitively do and you assume that someone's going to know. And if they're not told and they don't really foresee the full where you're going with everything. All right, so your bone folder, it's really good. Just go over it real quick, put a nice crease on there. Okay, so now you have your end papers. I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to do it once with the front camera, and then I'll do it once with the aerial camera. At this point, you should have your book block. If there was text in it, I'd be calling it a text block, but there's not. You can fray out your your tapes if you want. It's not necessary. Most tapes you can't fray. These are nice because you can. If you fray it out, it makes a really smooth transition, and the bump in the end papers is not as noticeable. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that now.
Where's the alls? This would be easier.
In the all drawer. In the drawer of pokey things.
Ooh, a whole drawer of pokey things.
It is.
That's what I had yesterday. It's okay.
Advice. And more advice.
I found some Rami band. Is that worth using?
What is it?
Rami band?
I'm not sure what that is, but I mean, so that material there is Rami in that roll.
It's just a band like this stuff.
Okay.
It's like wide, goes in a big roll.
Huh. I've never used it, so I'm not sure.
I hope I was using it in the right place.
And this stuff you can just push out of your way. You don't need that there. All right, so I need. All right, you're gonna probably want something to glue on. You can use regular paper. I have wax paper that I use. You just want something so you're not gluing on your work surface. Okay. You'll also want just some regular paper, doesn't matter what kind. You're going to use it as a straight edge for your glue. Probably should have put that in the notes for you guys to have on hand. You just want a sheet or two of it, and I'll show you what we're going to do here in a moment. Okay, I'm gonna go rinse this spoon out, and then when I get back, we're gonna put the end papers on. We're gonna have the camera follow over here and watch him for a while.
Can you see me?
Yes?
Yes.
Where'd you wind up going last night for dinner?
We went to Latte Brothers.
Oh, okay. Randy's.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pizza was pretty good. Yeah, pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Just
deal.
took it back to the hotel
Nice.
and all that.
Good.
Their big thing is putting sauerkraut on your sandwich.
Coleslaw.
The coleslaw on your sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah.
They came
While
here.
you were gone, I gave 80% discount. Because the gas.
Oh. That's awesome.
You're good.
Hey, he thinks he's funny.
Oh, you got.
Are you gonna track me? What is? Camera.
Can't believe my head made it away this time.
No. What? Hey, here. Bad eye camera. Hey, I'm gonna reset it. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Technology.
It's amazing how many things can be fixed just by turning it off and turning it back on.
Exactly.
Right?
Or unplugging it, that's the next step.
Yeah.
It sounds like Sean Roll.
Mark Knopfler.
Who's it?
Mark Knopfler. You'd know him as the front man for the Dire Straits.
Not the sound.
Yeah.
The name sounded familiar.
Yeah, I love a lot of his solo work. It's soothing.
Got a little bit of, you know, Sean Rowe?
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit. I guess, now that I think about it, it's not really.
I hear what you're hearing though. I get it. It's all right. All right. So your end papers, they could be put on while you're making the text block. So before you rounded and shouldered and all that stuff, you could have applied this. There's not a right or wrong way. I just have found through work that it's sometimes easier to do it this way, especially with more complex structures. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your folded side of the folio. I'm going to switch to the upper camera. I don't know that you're going to be able to see very well. Here, maybe we can do the zoomy thing. All right. So what you're going to want to do is take it and line it up so you're square down at the foredge. But first, you're going to want to peel this back a bit because your end papers need to go under that. So let your folded edge go up and over, get your foredge, your head and your tail squared up. And then when you put pressure on this, it should start to, get that little shoulder in it. So I'm going to put this back down the desktop and zoom back out. But essentially, you're going to hold your foredge, your head and your tail in place. And then you're going to use your bone folder and you're going to push that shoulder crease into your end paper. And so it'll look like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this with the overhead camera too, so you can see what I was doing on the desktop. So I'm going to use a different book, but so switching cameras.
All this stuff is like little stuff that makes it a little easier to put together.
There it goes. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom in a bit. All right. Get this stuff out of the way. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel back the molding a little bit to expose the shoulder. And I'm peeling back. Now you don't want to, you just want to push it back to where it's comfortable. You don't want to undo the glue, but you just want it out of the way, kind of like brushing your hair out of the way. And then I'm going to take my folio. I'm going to put the open end towards the foredge and the head and tail, and I'm going to square it up so it sits on there nicely. And I'm going to hold it down, and I'm just going to take the bone folder and I'm going to push it up into the shoulder. And that. Okay. So go ahead and do that for both sides of your book. So I'm going to flip this over, do the same thing over again where I'm.
Who's the other singer?
I'm not sure. Alexa, who sings this song? With who, though? You biddy. All right.
We knew that part.
Because it's sounding a bit like Doogie McLean, but I don't think that's him.
He sings with a couple of the old folk singers. And
Yeah.
I am drawing a blank on this name.
I have an extra piece of this. I cut this one too short. I don't know how I did it, but I did.
It's okay.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that.
All right, everyone got shoulders in their end papers? You guys are gonna want these out.
Okay.
You're gonna want these out.
Oh, I do have some.
We got a couple folks online still working it. How you doing there, Wendy? Did we reach another don't ask, don't tell moment?
Yeah, I cut the paper wrong, but I made a quick substitute for my stock here. And
Okay, right on.
So yeah, we're good. We're doing this.
All right. All right, so I'm going to talk through the next step as she's working her paper there. So for this next step, we're going to be doing a bunch real quick. You're going to want you have 2 boards. You're going to want those, and you're going to want a weight, either the wrap brick or even like 2 or 3 decent sized books, anything that you can just put on top of it for a few minutes to give it weight. There you go. You got to wait? Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, so we put this crease in there. If you want to go ahead and exaggerate it a little bit. Oops, okay, this camera. I just folded it up along the crease that we made with the bone folder. And you're going to want to apply your glue to the back side of the fold, not the inside, the back side. So as you pressed it into the shoulder, you're going to put the glue on the side of the shoulder because you're going to put it right back down into that place. We're going to use the same process where once we put the glue on here, we're going to flip it over. We're going to sit the foredge head and tail in place before we let this go down. And then once we're pretty confident that we're in the right place, we're going to drop it, make sure everything's lined up here, and we're slowly going to walk up with our fingers and just press it into place. If you want to go ahead and practice doing that without the glue, I would recommend it. Maybe do that a couple, 3 times.
It was James Taylor, by the way.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which is probably why I didn't recognize him, because I think of him as that guy that my mom listens to sometimes. Because he's my classy 100.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to take my folio with the shoulder up, so you should see a peak here. I'm just going to lay it down on the paper that I'm going to glue on. And then what you want to do is you're going to take this other paper and eyeball it square. And you want to just be this side of the shoulder. So you should just see the peak here and maybe a 1/16 of an inch of paper on this side of that fold. Your entire area that you're going to glue out here, you're talking maybe 5/16 of an inch at most. You don't want a lot. If you're getting over a 1/4 of an inch, you're probably too much. So I'm going to take my 50-50 blend, since we made it, and I'm going to glue out in a way. And I'm going to make sure that it's fairly well saturated. Doesn't have to be super thick, but you want it to be nice and even. I'm going to just pick it up. I'm going to flip it over like we talked about. I'm going to make sure that it stayed square. I'm going to sit it down on the foredge, head and tail. I'm just going to walk this up. I'm going to put some pressure into that joint with my finger. A lot of times, you can take the bone folder and push up into it. And the bone folder will give you this nice, hard rigidity. I like using my finger in addition to it because this shoulder is not perfectly crisp. It has some ins and outs and valleys, and the texture of your finger will help fill those and push it into place. So once you get your initial pressure, you're going to take one of your boards and just slide it up into that shoulder. You're going to flip it over. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to take and this is why I exaggerate that fold so I can see it. And I just move down a little bit from where I glued so I don't get glue on this. And again, I'm going to come about a 1/16 on this side of that shoulder. I'm going to push down and get my paste. I'm going to paste it out. You don't want to come in because you'll end up with paste on the other side. You just don't want that. Looks like my fold wasn't quite square, but all right. So I'm going to sit it down here. Make sure it's all squared up. I'm going to push it up into that shoulder. Use a bone folder to kind of give it that hard pressure because I can press harder with it. And go over that with my finger real quick. I'm going to take another board. I'm going to push it up into that shoulder. And then I'm just going to put some weight on it and let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Well, now this thing's in my way.
Can I take a scrap piece of here?
Oh, yeah, there's actually paper over here for this. I'm sorry. Down. Down.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, grab it.
Yep, I already have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, I sat my...
Is this what you gave us before?
Yeah, you can make your mix out of that. That's the PVA. Here's the paste if you want to make 50-50. Or if you're comfortable enough, go ahead and use straight PVA. What's up?
I don't have clue, so I'm assuming I can use your.
Oh yeah, just use this. It's sitting there. No point in making more dishes.
Exactly.
So I would recommend practicing laying it into the shoulder.
I was
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. Okay. I guess something to mention, when you put your shoulders into your end papers, make sure you put that end paper on the same side because your shoulders might not be exactly the same. And I bring this up because I just did that, and my shoulder on one side is a little taller than the other. I don't think it's going to be enough to matter. If you do end up with an end paper that goes taller than the shoulder, just use your finger and work it over the top so it kind of rounds on it. So with PVA and glue, for just about everything, it's your initial pressure is very important. The harder you can push on it, and the weight and everything, the better your initial tack is going to be. That is more important than the length of time it's under pressure. And that really comes into play when we're putting the boards on cloth and then eventually casing it in. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you exaggerated your crease?
Mhm.
All right. You got your paper. So you're going to put it on one sheet, have a second sheet to. Oh, you do? Okay. I see what you're doing. But you want to do it on this side.
Okay.
You'll be really disappointed with the other side.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. And then you want this paper to be, you want to be able to see the crease.
Mhm.
And so you hold pressure on there,
Okay.
and then go ahead and glue that out. These guys out of your way. Nicely frayed.
Let's do this with jeans.
Okay. So now you're gonna
Flip it.
line your head, tail, and edge up. Yep. Slide it up there. And then press that shoulder right in there. Hard as you can.
It's not one of the best things ever.
What?
Isn't that one of the best things ever? Just
Coffee?
yes.
Oh yeah.
How did our ancestors survive?
Seriously, she wondered that.
They beat each over the head with clubs.
Or really large swords?
Or really large swords. Why is this thing? There we go. Now it's doing it where it won't switch unless I actually go into the settings tab.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it added a step.
I'm done with the food. You good blankets?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for passing.
No worries. All right, I think what we're going to do, since this needs to sit for a little bit, we'll go ahead and take the first break now. We'll come back at 10:15, and we will resume. I'll put a board in there.
Oh, I
Boards.
thank you.
You'll end up crushing your shoulder doing that. Leave this
Thanks.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yep. And now flip it over.
Gotcha.
There you go. And yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
All right. Oh yeah, we gotta cut the boards down the size, don't we?
Also, not to jump ahead, but I don't have the fabric for the cover.
Oh, that's I'll end up cutting yours when I cut mine.
Okay.
You're getting off easy all the way around.
anyone needs some snackies, I got some Nutri-Grain up here. I got Velveeta, whatever those little chocolate things are.